Hello, everyone. I'm Tara Joseph, President of the American Chamber of Commerce here in Hong Kong. Thank you for joining us for one of our key events of the year, which, of course, we are doing virtually thanks to COVID. But we do have a small group joining us here in the Chamber today, and it feels fabulous to be with everyone at the beginning of 2021. Now, I really look forward to introducing our new chairman, Jessica Bartlett, where she will really point out the key issues facing the Chamber in 2021. And let's face it, right now, everything is hardly business as usual in both our personal and our professional lives. But first, we want to say a huge thank you to our outgoing chairman, Robert Greaves, who served for 2 years and has been an incredible partner during a turbulent and exciting time. For that, I'd like to invite our Consul General, AmCham Smith, to present an award. AmCham? And we'd like to invite Robert up as well. So Robert, please come on up.
Hello, thank you very much, Tara. It's really good to be here, to be together virtually, but also in person on behalf of the Chamber and, of course, the entire team at the Consulate General. We would like to extend all of our deep appreciation and thanks to Robert Greaves for his extraordinary service as chairman over the last 2 years.
Thank you, Consul General.
It's small. I hope you can fit it in your bag.
Thank you very much.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Robert. I'm glad you'll still be in town. It's been a blast. And now it's my pleasure and my honor to introduce Jessica Bartlett. She has been in Hong Kong for 6 years, and I think today is actually the 6th anniversary of her actual arrival in Hong Kong. Jessica joined AmCham pretty much a month after she moved here. She's been an active member of the Chamber, a very active member of the Law Committee here, chair of the Law Committee, and an active board member. It's a pleasure to have her here. She is currently the head of anti-money laundering for legal at Barclays. So she knows her business, she knows her law, and she knows her anti-money laundering. Jessica, I'd like to introduce you to point out our key priorities.
Thank you, Tara. And thank you to everyone who is attending today in person. Thank you everyone who is on Facebook Live. And thank you so much to the AmCham staff for putting on this event today and for everything that you've done over the last year, helping the Chamber get through and adjust to COVID-19. I have deep admiration and respect for all of the work that you have done and for everything that our members have done to support the Chamber. How do we begin this year? There is cause for much pessimism. Globally, every country and every person has been confronted with personal, health, economic challenges that have been presented by COVID-19. Politically, Americans have witnessed one of the gravest challenges to our constitutional order in recent memory. The institutions, economics, and values that supported globalization have supported many of the jobs and missions for the people here and listening today are under question. There is a belief that the state of the world, that America and this world and its values is in a state of decline. But I agree with a recent article co-written by Kurt Campbell, the incoming coordinator for Indo-Pacific Affairs on the National Security Council and a friend of the Chamber. He said, for the United States, decline is more a condition, rephrase that, is less a condition than a choice. And I think you could easily substitute Hong Kong in that sentence. It is, to a large extent, our choice as individuals, as businesses, as a chamber. After the last few years, Hong Kong is at an inflection point. And there is a choice about what the future looks like. I believe that there is a significant and constructive role that the Chamber, private enterprise, American and multinational businesses can play in shaping the future as one that cements Hong Kong's unique role in the global economy, in the Asia region, in respect of Greater China, and locally for each one of the individuals who call this city home. While these words represent deep thought and reflection, I fundamentally believe that the most important thing we can do is act, and do so in a way that moves forward constructively. And by that I mean in a way that reflects our chamber values, which are just as relevant today. The values of free enterprise, private enterprise, free trade, rule of law, ethical and responsible business, transparency, and free flow of information. The challenges of the last few years, whatever their source, I believe demonstrate the great expediency of these values. To quote William James, "Great emergencies and crises show how much greater our vital resources are than we supposed." During this time of inflection to move Hong Kong forward, our priorities for this year of 2021 should be guided by the values that have and continue to support and promote American businesses thriving in Hong Kong for now and in the future. So let's get to work. These priorities are one that I believe in and I hope reflect our values, but also many of the discussions that I've had with our members. COVID, it's at the top of the list, which is not surprising. We enter 2021 still grappling with this disease and the global pandemic. But the challenges will be different this year than they were before. Vaccines, types, distribution, when, where, how. This is a personal, business, public health, and global issue. And as has become quite clear in the last year, the only easy way out of this, it seems, is vaccination. But that is only judged relatively speaking. There are a lot of elements to vaccinating a population that will prove quite challenging to work through. Logistics, distribution policy and methodology, motivating and ensuring that a sufficient number of people get the vaccine. And in the meantime, we continue to deal with the various social distancing measures, business and school closings, limited hours, that within Hong Kong are taking an increasing personal and economic toll. And that overlaps, but differs from a discussion about how we start to open up travel, a particularly challenging and important topic for international business. Getting our employees on the road again, whether for business or for personal reasons, is an urgent issue. I think we need to think critically about our advocacy here. Where can business propose to add value? What efforts can we support? And where do we need to bring a critical eye to ensure that policy is calibrated to address the risk, but to keep the Hong Kong economy going as much as possible? US-China. We have a new administration, and many domestic priorities are topping the agenda for President Biden. But I anticipate that the US-China relationship will be a top agenda item. Although it is very early days, my current read of the administration is that the view of the relationship with China is one that is marked by competition and cooperation. It will be more important than ever that the Chamber represent the American business community to provide the new administration and officials with key insights and facts on the ground, and to advocate for US and multinational companies when policies are having negative or unintended consequences. The Chamber has the opportunity this year to strengthen relationships in DC and to build new ones with the new officials who will be overseeing and setting US policy toward China. But that is only one side of the relationship. The Chamber should seek out dialogue with Chinese and Hong Kong officials to act as a bridge between the US and China and to create space for American businesses to thrive in China, in Hong Kong, and in the Asia region. The future of Hong Kong. 2019 and 2020 were challenging years for Hong Kong, but American businesses are still here, and many of them still want to invest here. The Business Sentiment Survey, while acknowledging the challenges, also demonstrated cautious optimism for Hong Kong. And there are lots of good reasons for that. the structural advantages that Hong Kong offers, the high quality of financial and professional services offered here. And I think I speak for many people in this room and on Facebook Live. We like living here. But as I noted in my earlier remarks, Hong Kong is at an inflection point. The political developments of the last 2 years have challenged the view of Hong Kong as open for business. We have to recognize those challenges and monitor the political and legal environment closely. Complementing that, private enterprise needs to advocate for a Hong Kong that is globally and regionally relevant and continues to adhere to the values that have driven this city to success, values that the Chamber very much shares: free trade, rule of law, responsible business, and free flow of information. As I think we have seen time and again in many countries, these are values that need to be lived and advocated for as the future of Hong Kong takes shape. They will not be incorporated into that future by accident. Our focus should be on building a Hong Kong for the future and how the Chamber and private enterprise can be a constructive voice and source of support. And there will be opportunities for investment and business development in China, whether the Greater Bay or elsewhere, and regionally in Asia. The region continues to be a source of economic growth and development, and Hong Kong has an important role to play. Risk management. In the financial services world, Hong Kong is a key destination for managing risk. Hong Kong has also become a hub in the legal and business intelligence and risk advisory sectors for managing cross-border legal, regulatory, and geopolitical risk. Throughout the region and globally, multinational companies are facing increasing legal, regulatory, and political risks as institutions and political relationships restructure. Brexit was really only the beginning. The credibility and usefulness of international institutions that support free trade and collaboration are under question at a minimum. Separately but related, we might see governments increasing regulation in areas that they previously did not, particularly when it comes to tech and data. This can have huge company and market impacts. Given our membership and expertise in Hong Kong, the Chamber can and should leverage that to provide thought leadership to our members and help them identify resources and awareness to manage these risks while still accessing all the opportunities that this region has to offer. The new world of work. I think our Future of Work Committee would wholeheartedly agree, if not say this has been a long time coming, but one of the positive externalities of COVID is that it has pushed businesses to change the way they work, to adopt new approaches to working dynamically, working remotely, working from home. Many businesses are rethinking how their employees work, travel, and meet. By the end of 2021, many of us might find that our offices look a lot different, that our experience of work looks a lot different. There are opportunities here to advocate for positive, long-term change that increases efficiency while also increasing well-being, employee morale, diversity, and opportunity. But again, that won't happen by accident. Transforming the way we work means facing new challenges for diversity and inclusion, identifying opportunities for employees, mobility, and retention and recruitment. We can leverage our Chamber resources to provide new thought leadership on how workplaces can face those challenges and build a sustainable employment environment. Chamber priorities. This is more internal, and I wanted to end on a more personal note for the Chamber. What does 2021 look like for the Chamber? First and foremost, membership is the focus. This is a membership organization, and the Chamber needs to be geared to deliver value to members. This is what our members want, and we often deliver. But we always need to keep this as a priority and ensure that we deliver that value proposition for our members. What we term AmCham 2.0. As the future of work changes, so does the Chamber. Quite a lot of hard work and sweat has been expended to transform the Chamber for the digital age and for the COVID age. we can build on that hard work to reap the advantages. Diversity and inclusion. The Chamber is a diverse population of members, and diversity is a key Chamber value, but we should not be complacent. Let's look for opportunities to unlock new sources of membership and engagement, and invest in developing the future leaders of the Chamber for its committees, for its initiatives, its board, and for the Chamber community. And my final comment, I want to hear from you, the members, about what your priorities are for yourself, for your businesses, for Hong Kong, for the Chamber. As a membership organization, these priorities should be reflected in the Chamber priorities. So let's have a discussion.
Jessica, thank you very much. Okay, so we got a lot of work to do. It's going to be hard, but exciting, and hopefully a little bit of fun too. So I just want to start out before we go to Q&A, and of course, everyone, we would like to hear from you. Send in your comments, and also we have a small audience outside who can also get involved. But Jessica, for you, I have a few rapid-fire questions.
All right.
Are you ready?
Let's go.
Okay. Outdoor barbecue or black tie dinner?
Oh, outdoor barbecue.
Hardcore training or yoga?
Oh, both?
Favorite superhero?
Batman.
Favorite American city?
New York.
Favorite movie of recent times?
Oh, of recent times. Oh, goodness. All my favorite movies are older.
Okay, what are favorite movies?
One of my favorite movie of all time is The Princess Bride. I love that movie. I've watched it thousands of times, probably.
Fantastic. Well, thank you. And as I was saying earlier, because of COVID, maybe a lot of our members have not had a chance to meet you, certainly not in your role as chairwoman or chairman. So I did want to start with a bit of a personal question. It's about why you decided to become a lawyer. Pretty serious stuff. And you were a securities lawyer on Wall Street. Yes. For someone with a good sense of humor, that's a pretty serious choice. So why did you choose that?
Thank you, Tara. It is actually an interesting question because I didn't become a lawyer like a lot of people did. I went to college, I got liberal arts degrees, I was very idealistic about what I would do with those, and then I tried to get a job and realized that my liberal arts degrees didn't get me very much. And I was, frankly, a bit lost about what it is that I really should be doing. I did manage to work my way into a job with a local law firm in Dallas, Texas. There were 10 people there. I was one of them. And started working closely with lawyers. And I will admit, the first 6 months, I hated it. I did not like working there at all. I did not like lawyers. I was very disillusioned about, is this what this is? Is this what you do? But that view changed over time. I saw a lot of the work that they did. I saw how they helped small businesses start to access opportunities to deal with the disputes that for them could mean staying in business or not. I saw the work we were able to do in Suffolk County in New York. We represented a class of people who were getting speeding tickets from police officers that were city level. And those police officers actually had no authority because that had been transferred to the county. So it was actually illegal police forces handing out parking tickets and charging all these people lots of money. We were actually able to help them. And that really changed my view, and I thought, okay, this is not an idealistic decision. This is something that I can do where I can make a good living, but I can help other people, and that's what I need to be doing. And the last thing my boss said to him when I walked in, I said, I'm going to law school. He said, well, I've tried to dissuade you, but apparently it didn't work. So here we are.
Some years later. Good story. You outlined a lot of the priorities for the Chamber. Chairman is a special role, very demanding, but it's a special year for the chairman when they're in the role. What's your personal goal from it?
I think I really have kind of two personal goals. One, I think, is much more on the policy side. I think this is an incredibly fascinating year. Over the last couple of years during the Trump administration, both in my role at the Chamber, but also in my role with Barclays, we've done a lot of work to raise the profile of Asia and of Hong Kong as having a relevant voice in the policy discussion and being able to not only provide insight, but provide thought leadership about where policy should be going, how policy is impacting companies. A lot of that was done with people who were sitting at really renowned think tanks. Some work was done with the administration, but it was a little bit more difficult to get traction there. And now we've got a new administration, and a lot of these people that we develop relationships with are getting posts, political appointments in the new administration. So we really have an opportunity in this next year to really elevate the chamber, to show that voice in action in Washington. And I think that will, as I said, will be really important. I also think this year for me, from a personal level, the chamber has meant so much for my development. Coming to Hong Kong, getting to know people, raising my profile in Hong Kong, learning about how the community works. I want to make sure that a lot of our new generation of chamber members and future leaders have that same opportunity, have that same experience. And I think that's really important because it meant so much to me. And I think we can really create that for other people as well.
And with that in mind, this is the second year of our Future Leaders program, and we have 30 amazing future leaders who are joining us this year. So really excited, and I hope a lot of people in the chamber get a chance to know them over the course of the year. We have some questions coming in from our Facebook audience. The first one is the $64 million question. Do you think we'll have a reset in U.S.-China-Hong Kong relations under Biden?
I think I would answer this both as a yes and as a no. On the no side, I do expect to see a lot of consistency. I think the officials coming into the Biden administration have shown that they share many of the same concerns about what's happening in Hong Kong that the Trump administration had. But what I also think is interesting, and I think is on the positive side, where I think we might see a reset or adjustment, is that this new administration is using terms like competition and cooperation. And Kurt Campbell explicitly said, this is not a second Cold War. In a lot of the tools that have been used in the last year with respect to Hong Kong and also for China are more tools of confrontation than they are competition or cooperation. So I think there's an opportunity there to see an adjustment for how the policy goals actually get implemented, and maybe not relying on some of the tools that have been used. I think we will still see plenty of issues around export controls and sanctions, but I think it might be a different conversation. And we've got an opportunity with Secretary Yellen coming in to do a top-down analysis about sanctions programs and how effective they've been, and this will be one of the topics that she'll have to look at.
Another FB question, how confident are you about Hong Kong's economy and outlook at this obvious inflection point for a big city?
It's a challenging time, and I am not an economist, so I'm not going to try to speak at that level. It is a really challenging time for Hong Kong. I think in some ways, for many businesses, I think they feel that they're at an inflection point, especially when you go and you walk on the street and you see the retail, operations shutting down. But one thing I also know about Hong Kong is this is a very resilient place. And people here, as one of my friends said, the attitude of Hong Kong is can do. So I think we need to leverage that, and I hope that we can find ways to leverage that and find ways that the Chamber and the American businesses can support that, because we've been through a lot of hurt in the last 2 years, and it has really hurt a lot of businesses, and I think we need to turn that around pretty quickly.
Now, one of the key words that I've picked up in your speech, because I see as my marching orders, so to speak, is this word about constructive. Constructive dialogue, constructive advocacy at a time where things are changing rapidly. A lot of people feel optimistic about Hong Kong and the business opportunities here. Some people feel very pessimistic about the opportunities and the business atmosphere here. How do we put those together into something constructive? Is that through optimism? Is that through careful thought? How do you see it?
I think it's really through both. I think you have to acknowledge the challenges that are presented for Hong Kong and for China and the U.S.-China relationship. We can't approach this, as I've said before, with rose-tinted glasses where you go, everything's great. There are serious challenges that we have to deal with. But I think there is room for optimism. It's not all said and done. And there are a lot of the different relationships and the political relationships and policies, they're not set in stone. And we're going to see, I think, potential opportunities to help guide those. So I prefer to look at things a very American way, from an optimistic standpoint. Not one that's, based on non-reality or illusion, but one that accepts the challenges and says, okay, we've got challenges. How do we work with these challenges to move us forward instead of letting them hamper and pull us back?
Very interesting, but based around another question coming in on Facebook is, again, about the nervousness that Hong Kong feels about potentially the American community leaving or downsizing here. And the question is, do you see any American capital leaving Hong Kong after the national security law was implemented? Now, we get asked that question pretty much every day. And is it really everyone's out of here or everyone's staying? How do you approach these kind of questions?
Yeah, I do get this question a lot. Look, I think there's not an all in or an all out. That's not what's happening. I think each business is evaluating, and to some extent they're constantly evaluating, what is my China strategy? What is my Hong Kong strategy? What is my Asia strategy? But what I haven't seen, with some exceptions, but so far we haven't seen mass exits. I think we've seen a lot of investors that remain very keen to be in Asia and to be in Hong Kong. They still have a lot of confidence in the Hong Kong market. And that's a place that they want to continue to invest. They see this region as a growth region, as compared to other regions in the economy. Those fundamentals aren't changing. And Americans will go where there is opportunity. That is part of who we are. Got to address some of those challenges, but they will go where there's opportunity. And I think they still continue to do that for the most part.
So on these types of questions, we did a wide-ranging survey at the Chamber, the Outlook for 2021, which you can find on our website. It's also out there in social media if you want to have a look at it. What within that survey, which talked about business confidence, whether people are staying in Hong Kong, the competitiveness of Hong Kong, what stood out to you as surprising?
I think two things really stood out to me. One, and it was right there on the first page, there's cautious optimism. This felt like a very different attitude coming into 2021 than the attitude that we have for the last 2 years. And I thought that was really refreshing. And I was glad that it was cautious. It's not ill-informed, it's not ill-advised. It's cautiously optimistic about Hong Kong's future and their business here. I also thought it was interesting that so many were looking at their plans for what's in the medium to long term, which again, I think demonstrates that cautiousness, but also that opportunity that Hong Kong has and the Chamber has for kind of shaping what that longer term future looks like for business.
Okay, one more question, and it's one of your favorite areas, sanctions, U.S. sanctions. And this is a Facebook question. President Trump implemented sanctions to Chinese military-related companies. Do you expect that these sanctions will be relaxed, or is it going to take some time? Biden just walked in the door, by the way, so.
Yeah, I mean, this is a question we have been talking about quite a lot. I am not anticipating in the near term a relaxation of those sanctions. I do think that the administration needs to give a hard think about the way those sanctions currently work and whether there need to be adjustments to make sure that they achieve the policy objective. And that might, over time, mean some more significant changes. But usually in the sanctions world, a sanctions program lasts for a long time. It's not like an on and off switch. You do, oh, that changed off, back on. They typically go on for quite a long time. But I do think that looking at that program, the way that it has been implemented and the challenges that the private sector is facing and that the U.S. government facing, those will be things that I think Yellen will be looking at, and we might see some adjustments after she conducts her review. But that could take three to 6 months. So I think more micro changes is the best that we can hope for in the near term.
Okay, just one last question. I've found, especially during this COVID-related period, that every day, if I plan it out, it's not going to go according to plan. Something changes, etc. But if you had a crystal ball, pretend it's right here, and you were thinking, where are we going to be at the end of 2021? How do you see it? Will we be traveling? Will relations be more stable? Will we have had a fun year? How do you see it?
I think we're going to have a fun year, honestly. I do. Not one without challenges, but I think we are going to have a fun year. I think this is a much more constructive year that we're looking at. I think we will start to see people traveling again. It may, by the end of the year, it may not be, full open, just like you used to hop on an airplane to go to Thailand for a weekend and then a week later go to the US. Not like that kind of lifestyle that we expected in Hong Kong. But I think we will start to see people travel. I think people will find ways to get to where they need to be for business, that families will find ways to get back. Frankly, I just don't think many families can go another holiday season without coming together. So I think we're going to have to find ways to get through that, and I think we will see an increasing number of the population starting to get vaccinated. That will lead to different conversations about how do we travel safely, how do we do that. So I think 2020, at the end of 2021 looks a lot different than the place we're in now. I think many businesses by that point will have implemented their plans for what they think the new world of work is, and that will be more stable. I am hopeful, as I think many people are, that by the end of 2021, while we will still see challenges and lots of competitive elements between the US and China, that will have a bit more of a stable policy environment, more of a diplomatic policy environment, and that I think will create more certainty for business. And that's been one thing that is really, I think is really critical and has at times been missing.
Jessica, thanks very much. I look forward to the year ahead with you and to all of us working together at the Chamber. I'm going to give you a little break now.
Okay.
We're going to give out some more awards and hear from the CG. Consul General Smith, I'd love to ask you to come up to make some comments about the collaboration of AmCham, the American community, and also the consulate. We love working with you. But we do have Diana David here, our outgoing vice chair. So I wonder if she could come up and we can present yet another eagle. Da-da-da-da. I'll pass it to the CG to pass to you.
Wonderful.
Diana, on behalf of the Chamber and everyone at the consulate, many thanks for your service and contributions over the last 2 years.
Thank you, AmCham, and thank you, Tara, and also to Robert. It's been a pleasure to serve.
Thank you. Okay, CG Smith, I know you have some comments that you'd like to share with us, so over to you.
Okay. Great, thank you very much. Good afternoon, everyone. Many thanks to Tara and to everyone here at AmCham for inviting me and our consulate team to be here today. We're really happy to have the chance to join everyone in not only in welcoming Jessica, but also in honoring Robert and Diana for their service. This is the second vital transfer of power this week in an American institution. So I've had the pleasure of working with Robert and Diana, both here and in Washington, and so I have firsthand appreciation for their study leadership during a very challenging 2 years. Even as AmCham successfully marked its 50th anniversary in 2019, their tenure coincided with a period of uncertainty and change that has only underscored the importance of the American business presence here in Hong Kong. So Robert and Diana, thank you very much for helping to navigate AmCham through some choppy waters. While none of us could have predicted what the future held in store 2 years ago, Jessica is keenly aware of the very real challenges that lie ahead as she takes up the mantle. The Consulate General and the Chamber are united in placing enormous importance on the economic and business ties between the United States and Hong Kong. And all of us at the Consulate look forward to working closely with Tara, Jessica, and everyone at AmCham to reach our shared goal of expanding those ties and advocating for U.S. business interests. The peoples of the United States and Hong Kong are united in our respect for entrepreneurship, our drive to succeed, and the importance we place on hard work. We believe in the transformative power of education. Both of our societies are melting pots of diversity, embracing many different cultural traditions that are reflected in how local companies operate and in their openness to the world. And our shared values and worldview have resulted in strong business and trade ties that yield some incredible numbers that we've cited many times, but I'll repeat here. Almost 1,400 U.S. firms present in Hong Kong, 85,000 Americans live here, over 100,000 Hong Kongers who work for U.S. companies, and our goods and services trade is in the tens of billions of dollars. But we should also remember the intangible value that American firms bring to the business culture here in Hong Kong, from innovative advances in business and human resources practices, including increased awareness of the importance of diversity and inclusion, to corporate social responsibility programs that give back to this community that we love. Every U.S. business here has played a role in exporting U.S. business values and practices, and our contribution to the business ethos of Hong Kong is part of what makes this city unique. We are in a period of great uncertainty. In the current environment, close coordination and good communication between government and business is more important than ever. So we want to hear from you about your priorities, how you've been affected, and about your concerns for the future, and always how you believe that we can best support U.S. interests and values here. So let me close by once again welcoming Jessica and thanking everyone at AmCham for the vitally important role that you play in the economic relationship between the United States and Hong Kong. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Consul General Smith. If you can remain up here for a minute. On behalf of the trustees of the American Charitable Foundation, I am delighted to present this year's Ira Dan K. Community Service Award to Barbara Kwok, the founder and volunteer worker of Books and Beyond Reading Club. Initiated in 1986, this award honors those individuals in the Hong Kong community who contribute greatly to the Hong Kong community through volunteerism. And this year, we are honoring Barbara for her commitment, her self-sacrifice, her creativity, and her steadfastness in putting this club together. Before I give her the award, I would like Barbara to say a few words.
Thank you. Thank you, George. I'm really honored and humbled to be here to receive this award as the winner of the Community Service Award for 2020. First of all, I would like to thank my family, especially my husband, who has been behind me and supporting me all the way with my charitable work. And most importantly, I would like to thank our 100 leaders and more than 1,000 dedicated volunteers who work tirelessly to provide a free English reading enrichment program to the underprivileged children of Hong Kong from the age of 9 to 13, to develop a love of reading and to understand the emotion, how to set up goals, make wise decisions, and also how to collaborate and work with other people as a team. So without their hard work, especially with the difficult times of 2020, everybody is, a little bit crazy this year. And, without their hard work, I wouldn't even be standing here to receive this award. And this important recognition of our work is definitely a motivation for us to keep going and to expand our work even further for the benefit of more children in Hong Kong. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Barbara. And now I would like to give you, yes, a little applause, please. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
So on behalf of the Chamber, I would like to present this silver plate to you, this award.
Thank you.
Thank you. And wait, there's more. Also, on behalf of the Chamber, I would like to give you this check, which I hope will help you further your great work that you're doing in Hong Kong. Thank you very much.
Definitely. We will be expanding more work in 2021, that's for sure.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thanks to all of you. Barbara, don't go. I like to call Jessica Jessica back up to wrap up our 2021 priorities event with the obligatory AmCham photo. Thanks to all of you for joining us today, and we look forward to seeing you at the Chamber. Have a great afternoon. Let's take a picture. Let's go. Come on in. I think this is good.
Yeah, that's good.
There we go.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I think we're good.